What you're about to see goes against everything you know about New Zealand, because there are things you can do anywhere else but you just can't do or say when visiting here. And as someone who sees all the terrible mistakes made by tourists and even international students all the time, I'm covering the top 10 of those unspoken social rules that I personally learned the hard way, so you don't have to. And as always, they'll range from kind of okay to the worst mistake you should never ever make. And let us begin with the first one. Because with millions, and I mean millions of people coming to New Zealand every year, the number is only going up, which I'm sure you all feel when you leave your house. The more they know about New Zealand, the easier it is for everyone. Because number 10 is to never bring the American or British tipping culture into New Zealand, aka don't listen to those travel guys and bros if they're telling you to tip anyone in New Zealand, unless in one condition that I'm going to talk about later. So I don't know if you know, but most tourists, especially American tourists like myself, seem to believe that every nation that's ever been colonized by the British loves the tipping culture. So you will see many people getting every last piece of physical Kiwi money from their bank, fly all the way here and ready to tip everyone and their mom, only to find out that nobody tips in New Zealand. And they totally want to keep it that way, because over here, it's the employer's responsibility to pay a proper living wage to their employees. If you provide service, you get paid for the service. It's that simple. And once they realize they can pay their employees nothing because the tourists are now leaving them the most generous tips ever, guess what? They're gonna pay less. And that's bad for everyone except for the boss. However, and this came from my New Zealander friend, that if you do believe they're going out of their way to make your lunch and dinner simply perfect, she says even she tips people occasionally. So it's not that bad, unlike the next one. Because the next mistake I can't believe anyone is still making is to not subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed the video so far. But even worse than that, go on hikes in New Zealand unprepared, bro. If you can take away anything from this video, remember this. Be ready and pack your backpack for the wacky weather that can go from hot and humid to bitter cold and crazy windy in literally a few hours. I bet you like a story. So one time I was just chilling at the beach, saw a hidden hiking trail, decided to go in there thinking to myself, bro, if anything happens, I'm just gonna go back where I came in. Only for the sky to suddenly turn dark, got crazy windy, and when that happens, most people lose direction and panic, bro. I almost didn't come back that day. And for that, it's also great to have a wind and waterproof jacket just in case. And maybe some emergency snacks, okay? You never know what's gonna happen with the weather. It's almost as unpredictable as teenagers, y'all. There's actually a local saying that says, if you don't like the weather, wait a few minutes. So you know how crazy and unpredictable the weather over here could be. But just when you think you're finally good to travel around, the next mistake stops you right in your tracks. Because mistake number 8 is to not greet people when you're out in the bush. So you know the awkward feeling when you're out for a walk and someone's coming right at you and you don't know if you should look at them or pretend they don't even exist? Well, worry not, because in New Zealand, especially in the absolute middle of nowhere, which is like 80% of New Zealand or something, most likely they're going to say hi to you, and you as a tourist wouldn't want to be impolite now, would you? And even more so is that if you're both stopping for like drink water or have a snack, well then talk about something, because there ain't much people out there, so it's great to be nice, or at least don't be rude, man. And who knows, you might be your lifelong friend by doing this. And it doesn't take much time to do it anyway, just make it a habit. But if you don't want to do that, I'm sure you'll be fine. Which I can never say the same for the next mistake, and that is mistake number 7, not paying attention to the traffic rule when you're self-driving in New Zealand. But since I don't drive, this is all coming from my Kiwi friends who have seen the most horrible tragedies caused by self-driving tourists. So you might have noticed that people over here drive on the left, and there's no turning left and right on the red light. But the problem is that many travelers came from nations where it's okay to turn on the red light, and they love to come to New Zealand thinking it's only got like 5 million people. The road is probably as empty as my wallet, and they can fast and furious all the way, man. But even more so, it's not as easy as, oh, you see a green light, move, and if it's red light, not moving like you're playing Squid Game or something. Because sometimes you do see weird combo like red light with a green arrow. So you gotta learn everything about the traffic rule before you even think about driving yourself. yourself. And when you do, bro, be ready for the crazy amount of international drivers that don't follow any of the rules you just learned. Or just take the bus, man, it's safer for everyone. Because not only can most tourists not drive, they also underestimate the driving distance in New Zealand, as many of the roads are not even straight. Bro, they're more like spaghetti shaped. And not only do a lot of the highways, quote unquote, only have 2 lanes, but it's winding and take forever to get around, and it's bumpy so you can't drive too fast, and you also have speed limit and places in and around the city, so it's easy to see everything on Google Maps and wonder to yourself, I'm gonna drive here for lunch and then go here and here one day, only to realize later that none of that was realistic at all.
And this also goes into how you pace your trip, as many people coming here for the first time believe they can rush and see every possible thing in New Zealand in 1 week, and often get disappointed when they fail to do so because it's simply too difficult.
So now you don't do crazy turns at the red light, you don't spend 10 hours driving in the loop, but does that mean you'll truly enjoy New Zealand? Absolutely not, because 90% of the tourists I see always make the next mistake, and that is not trying out the local pie in New Zealand. And this is how. So pie goes a long way in the history, and if you ever visited New Zealand, you can feel the love for a good pie, because they taste the best, and you ain't gonna have it anywhere else. And simply grab yourself a pie every day for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and anytime in between. Okay, that's too many pie. But people will always come here, eat at the big name places they already know, and completely forget the local bakery even exists. And then go back complaining on the internet, saying how New Zealand is too expensive and boring. Bro, the pie is only like $4 in most places, and it tastes like a piece of heaven. And vegetarians, don't worry, I was able to find veggie pies in every bakery. But if you don't at least try out the pie, you're missing out on the most delicious human invention in the world.
But based on how many times I failed to buy the pie, it seems like every day they only make the amount they can guarantee to sell to avoid any leftovers. So if you go to the bakery too late, you're going to miss out.
But that's not the only thing you need to worry about, because mistake number 4 is so crazy you have to come here to see it for yourself. And that is not getting used to seeing the locals walking around barefoot. Now, this isn't as common as it used to be due to the increased amount of broken glass and smashed bottles on the footpath. And I guess many of them realized they could sell pictures of feet on the internet, so they stopped doing it for free or something. But it's still common enough in suburbs or a coastal city near a beach. So I have a Kiwi friend who now lives in America, and every once in a while, he would go out without any shoes on, but the last time he did, a kid literally shouted at him, "That guy has no shoes, man!" And you also hear rumors of travelers coming to New Zealand only to take pictures of Kiwis with no shoes? Dude, that sounds weird. Does it sound weird to you too? And where do I find those pictures, bro? So if the person shopping next to you is barefoot, they're in their pajamas and onesies, don't freak out, bro, just chill. But one thing you can chill about, and it's literally driving local Kiwis crazy, is mistake number 3, believing how dangerously chaotic New Zealand has become based on the things you hear in the media. Because if you do so, you will falsely believe that New Zealand is nothing but crime and protests and massive spiders. Oh wait, that's Australia. So the internet is basically an echo chamber. One person sees something and everyone else suddenly believes. And New Zealand is a small nation with seemingly nothing to report. So when you check the news, you might only see the bad news. And sometimes, when they're complaining about how New Zealand won't make it past the 21st century, well, that's actually just their sarcastic Kiwi humor. Now, there are some shady places in New Zealand that are better left alone, totally just like every other nation. But outside of that, use your common sense during your trip and you'll be fine.
And if you look at the Global Peace Index on the internet, which measures how safe or peaceful a country is, as of 2024, New Zealand still ranks as one of the safest countries in the world, even safer than Singapore. So I don't think there's much to worry about.
But that alone wouldn't ruin your trip, and I can never say the same for mistake number 2, and that is not wearing any sunscreen. You know how they always say the sun is providing everything we need to exist on Earth? Bro, in New Zealand, it might as well be the polar opposite. That sunlight would end you. And it only took me days before my skin literally began to peel off like onions. And you might think to yourself, well, what if it's cloudy or rainy out there? It doesn't matter, okay? Wear it every day, whether it's sunny or cloudy. Yes, the hole in the ozone layer is getting better, but the sun is still brutal and nothing like the sunlight you get in Europe or Bali, Indonesia. And you can get sunburned in summer within minutes, so do yourself a favor and get enough sunscreen and a hat. But after all this, like, what is mistake number 1? What is the worst thing that you see tourists still do even to this day? Because a lot of things have changed for New Zealand over the past few decades, and it's easy to come here believing it's all sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies without even knowing what the locals are going through. Too many people visit New Zealand under the mindset of, man, you people are lucky you get to live here and go on helicopters every day, without realizing how the locals are struggling with the lack of good paying jobs and the housing crisis. I mean, bro, imagine needing to pay $1 million to get a house just to not be homeless. Yes, the scenery is good, but like my Kiwi friends always say, you can't eat the scenery, they're not pies, okay? So don't be like, oh, you guys have everything, I'm so jealous, kind of tourist. And maybe go out your way to support the local businesses and small restaurants and people selling stuff while you're traveling in New Zealand.
But it doesn't stop there, because in this video, I break down the untold hidden reason why everyone here is either leaving or waiting to leave for good. And you can click on the video to find out.